What's good, folks? Did you know that there is a difference between experience and exposure? Well, if you want to hear a little bit more about it, stick around. Thanks for sticking around. It's author and life coach Krystal B. Welcome back to my channel, Moving with Meaning. And yes, we're going to talk about a little bit of experience and exposure just to keep that life coaching series moving right along. So when we talk about experience, that's probably some information that you're going to put out on LinkedIn or a career builder or what you put on your resume. Sometimes what I usually do is I create two different types of resumes. One is a detailed list of all my skill sets, the different technologies I've worked in, the different environments, the different types of industries, and so on and so forth, right? We keep going down the list. Other one is a more summarized or condensed version of my resume, which summarizes each one of my experiences at the different areas and roles that I played at that particular location. So what I would like to say about experience is that it's a great way to kind of weed out, right? So you want to have your buzzwords on there. You want to look for someone with a particular scope of work, right? So did they work on this particular type of technology? Did they work in this particular type of industry? Did they perform these types of tasks or in this particular type of role, and so on and so forth? Do they have these kind of responsibilities? And the list goes on. So it definitely helps weed you out from the masses. So that's great because you get shortlisted. But what differentiates you from the next person is your exposure. What do I mean about exposure? Goodness. Well, you look at two different resumes and they look exactly the same, right? You can't really tell which one. They're real tight, they're real close at the edge, right? They're real close to the finish line. And so you almost have to do like a photo finish, and that's where the exposure comes into place, and that's where you take the lead out. Well, you're gonna have to basically do this in your interview. So when I say exposure, I'm gonna basically say there are two kinds of individuals, right? So they've done the same things and done the same tasks, but they've done it under very favorable conditions. Then there's another individual who has accomplished the same task and has the same experience, but they were in an unfavorable condition. But the environment could be toxic, it could be they were under-resourced, they were under budget, they had to perform additional duties, they had to go above and beyond the job title to get the job done. So different conditions could pose, for example, different tenacities, and it can expose you to additional opportunities. It can expose you to different skill sets that you never would have had if these favorable conditions were there. So, it's difficult to really put all of that in on a resume, and you don't want to badmouth any company that you were at that, hey, it would have been good if they had this set up or this kind of structure or they followed these types of guidelines or what have you. What you can present to others is essentially, this is what happens when these types of principles are set up. This is what happens if you go outside of the scope of work. If this is what happens when you under-resource. This is what happens when budget is constrained. This is what happens when you add additional items to the list, and so on and so forth, because you can basically relate to what good looks like, and you can become very proactive in avoiding these types of situations. So experience is great because it shortlists you, but exposure is a differentiator. So make sure that you are able to clearly and positively articulate that in a very great way during your interview. Here's the thing. Check out my website at Moving with Meaning and book a free discovery call for us to meet one-on-one, just for you to get a vibe about my experience and technique. Let's get real and make that connection. As always, I would greatly appreciate it if you were to give this video a like to help get this content out to other career motivated individuals. If you like this video or the others that you have seen so far, consider subscribing and join the Moving with Meaning tribe. Don't forget that bell notification so that you know when I drop any more content or videos or the like. Lastly, I want to hear from you. Yes, you. Let's get engaging and let's make some of those comments fly. I love it, love it, love it. You are incredibly appreciated, and see you in the next video.